Hi, I'm Rose Harris-Bertil reporting for MoneySavingExpert.com, and I'm here with its founder, Martin Lewis, today. We've got some breaking news for you at the moment because Energy Secretary Ed Davey has announced long-awaited proposals on energy price reform. So, Martin, can we get your first reactions to this?
This, of course, all stems back from the Prime Minister saying in Parliament that he wants to force every energy company to put people on their cheapest possible tariff. Now, what's interesting when you read this announcement is there's very little mention of that until you get to the very end where he says by 2014 we expect people to be on their cheapest tariff. So rather than doing it by a compulsion, which is what we expected, it seems to indicate to me they're going to do it by simplification, these new 4 tariffs only per company. And therefore, my interpretation is that by definition, if you're on one of those 4 tariffs, because there aren't any old tariffs or dead tariffs, you know, not 50 different past tariffs at different rates, there are only 4 tariffs and everyone's paying the same rate on them, in that case you will be on the cheapest tariff because there's limited choice and it will be the right one for you. But still trying to get clarification of that at the moment. Helen, sitting behind me, is working on it as we speak. And that's really interesting. This has all been so well flagged, so largely talked about, and yet the big prime ministerial statement has been whispered in the midst of it.
Do we know any more about exactly how these 4 tariffs are going to work?
Yeah, you're going to have 4 tariffs. One will be a variable, one will be a fixed, which accounts for the majority of the marketplace. Then you have 2 other choices, the idea being that it may be a green tariff, a discount tariff. I suspect this may be the way they can still put out market-leading offers by using one of the other 2 tariffs temporarily. It could be a smart billing or anything like that. I do have slight worries that green may be squeezed out here with only 4 tariffs. There's no mandate, they're not being mandated to have a green tariff. If they've only got 4 to pick from, will energy companies pick a green one? Although then again, if green is profitable, because they tend to be more expensive, they might keep it in there. There's another little bit that's been flown into that announcement, though. It says that collective switches will be able to negotiate bespoke purposes. Now, a collective switch is when you bring a group of people together and therefore negotiate a bulk buy. We've seen this happen already, but it hasn't been particularly successful. The reason it hasn't is because actually the collective switches haven't been cheaper than the market-leading prices. So you could just simply go on a comparison site, get a cheaper deal than the cheapest collective switch. And this is some market gemmying, if you look at it, for collective switches, because it means if big companies can only have 4 normal tariffs, well, if they want to put out a market-leading deal, how do you do it? Well, you throw it out with a collective switch, and you allow people who are more likely to move and more likely to churn to go into a collective switch deal. Now, what's rather interesting is how this will operate. In some ways, I suspect what that means is we'll have 4 main tariffs per company, but lots and lots of different collective switches, lots and lots of different tariffs, much like we do now, but they'll have to be linked through some form of trusted organisation. So that very little loophole in there does make me think, are we still going to end up with the same system that we have now, which is a form of regressive taxation, where people who are financially not confident, apathetic, have financial capability issues, pay much more money than active switchers like me to boil the same pan of water? And I think with the collective switch move there, that could well happen, although collective switches are targeted at vulnerable people.
I think a very important question that a lot of people are going to be asking is, will they still give direct debits and dual fuel discounts with this?
Yeah, almost certainly. They're still allowed to have. You'll now have a base price, but it looks like they'll be able to give a percentage discount. So let's say you have your variable tariff or your fixed tariff, but then they say 5% off if you pay by fixed monthly direct debit, 3% off if you combine your gas and electricity. Hopefully that will simplify the marketplace. It's what they do now, but it's more diffuse. So that seems to be a particularly good move there.
And do you think this will see prices come down overall?
Probably not for some, but definitely for others. I think what will happen here is you currently have a big range of tariffs. Someone on a standard tariff is paying £1,390 a year. Someone on the very cheapest tariff, £1,070 a year. I think the people who've never switched at the top, their prices will get cheaper. The people who regularly switch at the bottom, their prices will get more expensive. The range of tariffs will narrow down, so everyone is in a much more narrow band, and that's what's likely to happen. So some people will pay more, some people will pay less. You know, there's been newspaper headlines here, I should say, this is the end of switching. Well, that's ludicrous, because of course all that's going to happen is the company will move you to its cheapest tariff. That's not the same as the market's cheapest tariff, and certainly with collective switching come in, there could be many different tariffs out there it's still worth moving to. So I think we're going to see a change in the way that the market operates. You know, it always reminds me of the days when we moved from Tide pubs to independent pubs and different suppliers coming in. It seems to me the big supply companies are now going to be sitting at the top with their own tariffs, but then working with lots of different collective switch agencies to put competitive tariffs out there in the market. Now, that's from a first reading, I have to say. Everything here, one piece of paper, reading it through, quick reaction. I'm going to be fascinated to see how this actually develops.
That's excellent. Well, thank you very much for that, Martin. That's great. Now you can see further updates as soon as we've got this on this page. And also, if you go to moneysavingexpert.com/energy, we'll update everything there as we've got it. Thank you very much.